Out here today to work on the fuel system of the Link Belt 2800 C Series 2, and we've had some funny issues. What I discovered is that the O-ring in this is cracked. I want to get rid of it entirely. What I've done is I've gotten a new fuel water separator with a big fuel filter made in, so Fleet Guard FS 1212. And made up a bracket for it, and the goal here today is to replace everything from the lift pump to the tank, all brand new, and we can eliminate all of that craziness, and just know at least going forward that it's not that problem. It might be another problem, but it's not that problem, and I'm going to eliminate this entirely. But considering that's just bootlegged in with twisted wires and no fuses, I want it out. So I got the line cut from the bottom of the tank. And I wish it wasn't so dang cold out here today, but it's only going to get worse, and today is the day that I have to do it. So first thing is to get a tank line up into here and get my new filter installed. Boom! And it's done. So I got all new lines leading up to it. I pre-filled it. You hear that teeny tiny gurgle. That's the world's slowest draining gas cans. Adding fuel to the thing. Okay, I can get them to go faster, but then they piss fuel all over everything, so it's fine. So once I get enough fuel in the thing to accomplish what I need to accomplish here, check that my hose underneath isn't leaking, I can prime it. And then luckily this engine has a prime pump, and because using clear vinyl lines, I will be able to see once it's primed. I'm hoping the vinyl stands up to it. It's what it appears it had before. That's the return line. I didn't replace it. Is clear vinyl lines. This is clear vinyl, and it's been there for a long time now, and it hasn't affected it at all. So, but yeah, I'll be able to pump everything up. I have disconnected. Oh, that's the old fuel water separator. See the cracks in it? So, anyways. I can't guarantee that's what the hard start was, but I can guarantee that that's not helping the machine at all. This is the old fuel pump. Somebody suggested I cut it apart just to find out if there's any crap in it and whether it itself was plugged up. It says you got to use it with a fuel filter or your warranty is void, and it certainly didn't have a fuel filter. So this is fun. I forgot to bring the Allen key for that. Yankee ingenuity. That is a 1/4-inch bolt that I found that had the right head, and then I just screwed that nut down on there. Quite honest, it worked easier than using the actual Allen key. So that's one to put in the toolbox in your brain. But wait for Gurgle and Myrtle here to finish, and we will attempt to start it. It's pretty dang cold. I've luckily reached that point where your hands turn red and kick some blood into them, so it's no longer cold to work on my hands, but it's 28, something like that right now. You can see the frost line on the hills is moving. The mountain is poking out over there. Well, yeah, we should be good to go here in just a little bit. Done and done. So now what we're going to do is use the prime pump on the machine in order to pump up fuel directly to the injectors. And this is, I don't think that vinyl tubing is going to be strong enough, but I think it's going to crush down. There shouldn't be any suction on it. I know it won't survive any vacuum, especially if it gets warm. There shouldn't be any suction on it. With all brand new filters. So this is the prime pump right here. You just unscrew it. It pops up, and then you can prime fuel. So we'll go ahead and see if we can pump up a little fuel to the thing. You should be able to see it in that line down there. It's starting to fill. Well, see, we got fuel going in. So we're sucking out of the tank now. That's all the way up to the filter. So right now we should just be pulling fuel out of the filter itself. So I'll finish getting that all through, and we should be ready to try starting it. Well, that's a little annoying because there's no check valve on this side of the line, and my fuel filter's mounted so high and everything's flowing so well, I can't get that air out. So I'm going to take these two bolts loose. I'll lay the whole thing down here on the bottom, and I'll pump it, and that will get rid of that last bit of air. And then we'll be ready to try starting it. Now we're good to go. Well, it took a lot to get it running. Problem was completely unchanged, right? She'd fire on a cylinder or two and die. Fire and die. Fire and die. I bled the high pressure injector rack twice. Each time it got better, and the second time it only fired and died maybe 6 times before it chugged and loped its way into idle. It still didn't want to respond to the throttle at first, but I think it'll respond to the throttle now. Yeah. So here's hoping. There's a weird pulse. Maybe somebody who has one of these can tell me if it's supposed to do that. There's a weird pulse in this line. I don't know what's causing that. But yeah, we seem to be running. As frustrating as that was, it's still better than it was. I didn't resort to any ether, and I was still tinkering with it a lot less time than I was before. So I know there was, well, we know there was air getting into it. The O-ring was broken, right? It was sucking air, no doubt. So we've already improved that. The fuel water separator is twice, if not 3 times the size. We got a high quality filter filtering here and another quality filter on the motor. I'm not running the jerry-rigged little pump there. There's got to be an improvement, right? It's just got to be. I can hear a little bit of claim partial success. If I'm able, I'm going to put it through her paces today. I got to get underneath the massive bundle of high-speed fiber optic without taking it out. I'm sure the phone company would appreciate that. But out to the right of the water tank is another big flat area where they were doing the rock mining, and so they left a big hole. I want to fill that hole in because I can start parking stuff over there that's not needed for a long time, and it's not in the way up here and no one will see it. You know, things like the white willies, which if I put it over there I'll never get around to fixing it. But this is what we're working on today. I will let you know she's running nice, and as much as I fought it, it started a whole lot easier than it did before, and I don't have that little fuel pump in it, so I think we got a whole series of things that might be wrong, but I also think we just fixed a bunch of them. So let's see what she does. I don't have every issue fixed. We still have got 0 power. So I could bring it down to a stall just by lifting the bucket. And we've been running now for minutes maybe. Even spinning around, it doesn't really like it. So this is all part of what it's been doing. You know, that one day that I fought it to life, right, starting was much harder. We've clearly made something better. But once I got it running, it had 0 power until I forced it to do a bunch of stuff. I just basically did that over and over again, and all of a sudden she ran just fine. Like I said, it's been running now for 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. I just don't think the hydraulics are that cold, and I don't know that it would have that serious of effect on it, but maybe I've got a valve or something that's a little sticky. Anyways, I think we're 3 steps forward, 2 steps back sort of scenario right now, and if you got thoughts or ideas on, I'm always open. Dang it, look at this. I shut it off just to see how things would go, and I went to start it back up again. I understand it's been running for 25 minutes now or so. We are right back where we were before. So, dang it, we didn't fix anything. I'm trying the glow plugs to see if they make a difference. I mean, if the turbocharger was a little sticky, that would leave it low on power, but it wouldn't make it hard to start. They told me they were worried it had a bit of a timing issue and they had tried to retime it. I bet that's the direction I need to go next. I'm on the glow plugs right now. Okay, so we're right back at it again. What if it was leaking from the high pressure return line, the return line out of the injectors? if it was pulling air there, but it wouldn't pull air, would it? At least it'd be visibly leaking, right? Because it'd be weeping from the ports. I'm wondering if it has nothing to do with air in the injectors. I wonder if the process of bleeding them, I get extra fuel in the cylinders. And that's what it's starting on, and then once it's starting, it's able to keep running. Does that make any sense? Well, crap. In our ever-dedicated attempt to make things worse, I decided I would check on the condition of the copper washers and all the banjo fittings. That seemed like a likely place for a little bit of air to get in, maybe. Though none of them were leaking, but I touched grasping at straws, and it of course decided that'd be a great time just to break right off. So now I need to get a new bit of pipe. God damn it. 6BD1 TLE-01 AC/IJ. So it's a 6BD1 engine. I thought we had it. I thought we had it replacing the fuel system. I found something wrong. Alright, so fix that line. Turns out my father's lessons in gas welding remain good after all these years, even if I have to do it with a torch. I then used the prime pump to prime everything up again and cracked each injector, nut up at the top, and bled it. I did it a little more aggressively this time. And when I tightened them down, I hit the glow plugs for 30 seconds, and she, boom, immediately fired up. I then went through and bled every line while it was running. And it might have been my imagination, but I'd swear I didn't get as much fuel out of that one as I did on the others. I couldn't tell if there were any bubbles. The whole thing, it's all aerated, right? As it gets sprayed out, so it's spraying out foam. Maybe I need to try to just barely crack them, see if I can get solid drips or if I still get foam. But anyways, then I shut it off and started it back up again, and it started back up this time. So I went through and I sort of aggressively did them all again, let them run for a while. Well, that's not entirely true. When it was running, I revved it up and I lifted the boom. The first time I lifted it, she wanted to die, just like you saw in that earlier part. And then I hammered her again, throttled it down and throttled it back up. And this time, she slowed a little bit, but by the end, the boom was going up and down what I consider normally. And I throttled it up and down a few more times and killed it. After bleeding all of them a second time. And now it's just been sitting here, and I figured I'd let it sit for a few minutes and we'd try it, see if she fires right back up. Most of the banjo fittings are missing at least one of their washers. Napa did not have the right copper washers, but they had something that was a touch wider but a touch smaller on the inside diameter. So I was able to use a die grinder in the drill press and custom machine out the inside. So I've now got, and that's why that one ripped off, is because without the crush washers in between the two, it had fused to the lower part of the lift pump. So now it's got copper on both sides, and the extra, like aluminum maybe, washer that was on that is on the other end of the line, so that it now has two as opposed to just one. All of these are missing them. I knew that, of course. The guy told me that. I have those washers, but they aren't leaking, and that's a return line. But no one can figure out how, if it isn't leaking under pressure, it's still allowing it to leak once it's shut off. And everybody just keeps coming back. We called a good friend at the heavy diesel shop, and both he and his mechanics all believe that somehow from the symptoms, she's getting air in it somewhere. But they don't like the idea that it's got that weird lift pump onto it. And they're worried that the lift pump might be too weak, and they want me to do a pressure test on the lift pump, which I'm going to have to buy some fittings to do. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just they also don't think that's related to the weird starting. They think that might be related to the low power, but not the weird starting. So we let her sit. Let's drop the top. That's all right. Throttle all the way up, back to about half. Here we go. God damn it. If I bleed it, I can start it. If I don't bleed it, I can't start it. So we've got to be sucking air somewhere. Okay, let's confirm this. Let's crack and bleed and try it. And we'll do it all in one take. So the question is it starting because it's lost the prime, or is it starting because each time I do this, I flood the cylinders with extra fuel? Okay. Let's lock her down. If this was an army truck, I'd look at the fuel filter. That's where it typically loses its prime from. All right. Let's try her again. On the glow plugs, though it shouldn't need it because it was warm. Here we go. Okay. Let's go try the lift pump. Oh, primer. And I can hear fuel going back into the tank. I wonder if this thing's leaking. Now the question is, do I try starting it, or do I go through the whole crack the injector system again? If it doesn't start this time, then I don't know what to tell you, because this is exactly what I did, and she fired right up. Well, anyways, I went through that entire thing and absolutely no effect whatsoever. I did notice we got a bubble here again. So maybe there's not, I don't know why it wouldn't pull through fuel through here. Should pull fuel through just fine even with that bubble. But at this point, I don't know what else to do. So I'm going to take this thing back off. I'm going to tip it and wiggle it or whatnot, whatever it takes to get that bubble on its way up to the injector pump, and then I will pump it through the system using the priming plunger so that I get nice. Actually, what I should do is pump the priming plunger and see what happens right here. I'm going to go do that first, but then I'm going to get this out. Once again, I just I don't know what's going on. It's a reminder to myself, you're going to have to beep this. Loose linkage on the manual kill. Loose linkage on the manual kill. Allowing it to fall on. I swear to God I hate myself sometimes.